Well, welcome again. This is an absolutely fabulous ride that we're taking out of the town of Peterborough, and then we're heading west towards the town called Oundle, and it goes through some absolutely incredibly beautiful villages, and on the whole the roads are really very peaceful, very good condition, and it's quite a very enjoyable ride to make. Just one little caveat. So let's have a little look at the map itself. So we're going to start just on the edge of the town of Peterborough. Now Peterborough's got loads and loads of really good cycle link-ups, so we're starting from just outside in the village of Chesterton, which is in the southwest of the town, but it's got its green wheel, which is a series of cycle routes all the way around. We're then going to follow, and the route is about 36k from Chesterton. We're going to follow the Oundle Road up to Elton, beautiful little village there, and then round down to Fotheringay, and we actually stopped off, had a little look around the church there, then headed down towards Oundle, and you just get to the outskirts and it becomes a little bit built up into Oundle, and then we explored Barnwell Country Park just underneath, took a quick trip around the lakes there, and then back up. There is a nasty bit of A605 which in theory has a cycle track, but it's not particularly good. Then we turn off, fortunately, at Warmington, not Warmington-on-Sea from Dad's Army, but we turn off at Warmington, head along right through very quiet roads to Bullock Road, where we turn left, and then we head back up towards the Oundle Road. Again, Bullock Road is a really quiet path. So here we go, we're just leaving Chesterton now, and although this is a fairly major road, it's not the A605. This road is not too busy at all. It's good quality surface. There are occasional bigger lorries on, but mostly it's white vans. So we're just going to get up to the path where we would rejoin it later on, and now we're heading further down this Oundle Road towards Elton. The edge of the road, the left-hand edge, is sometimes a little bit thick in gravel, and I think that might be because it's been recently resurfaced and done up, but generally the roads are really good. You've got good visibility, and you can also hear the traffic coming from right away, so it's not really a problem. So here we are entering Elton, and it is a very pretty little village. As really descriptions go, it befits most of the little villages around. Nice stone villages, very similar to Cotswolds. Lots of thatch, all the sorts of things that tourists love. Great pubs. So here we are in Elton. And then we're just going to leave Elton, and we take a sort of route around the back of all the houses. There are shorter routes if you're just going to go from one town to the next, but that's not our plan. So we're now heading off, and we cut over the canal back there. And now we're dropping down towards Fotheringay, which you can actually see coming up in the distance eventually, because you can see the spire on the church. And a lot of the churches around here have this hexagonal or octagonal shape to them, which is very much, to me, reminiscent of Ely Cathedral. We're now going to cut down. That's the turn off you can see at the top of the screen there. And now we head almost south, directly south, heading down towards Fotheringay. Wide road, but notice there are no white lines really down the centre, which implies it's short. And there's the church of Fotheringay. And we went straight in and had a real look around this wonderful octagonal tower that there is at the top. And it's a beautiful laid out church, and plenty of information inside. Definitely worth a visit. There was a guy doing a piano practice, a piano recital really, getting ready for it. So now we're heading out of Fotheringay. We go round the edge of the lakes, and you'll see that, well, this was the sort of mid-May really, so all the cow parsley was out, the hedges were looking great. It was a really very tranquil time, but not over warm actually. That part of the country seems to be fairly grim. And now we're heading south towards Oundle properly. Past the turn off to Catterstock village, but we just keep going. Now the road is slightly bigger here, but it's no busier than any of the others. There's really nowhere substantial for any of the vehicles to be heading towards. So here we are, we get onto the edge of Oundle, and it's all new housing development to begin with, which is pretty grim for many of us, but on the other hand it seems to be quite normal for this part of the country. A lot of new building going on. And we head into the town. Now be aware the traffic does get sort of squeezed down into these tiny narrow roads. There's lots of parking in the town. I'm not sure quite why they do that, but you get through the original town, and we just came straight out the other end over the river, and now we start heading down towards Barnwell Country Park. And here we are in Barnwell Country Park, and we just went for a ride around, stopped and had our lunch overlooking the lake. And it was a really interesting place, actually. Hundreds of school kids absolutely everywhere, but it's definitely worth a visit, and the wind keeps blowing across the whole thing, but it's fairly well managed, actually. So we head back out, cross over the bridge there, back into the town of Oundle. And once we got into the very centre, we did actually stop and just go for a little wander around. We stopped in at the church that was there, and in here there were kids of about 8 or 9 years old giving a recital. So now we're heading back out of Oundle and up towards the 605. Now do be careful in the 605. This is where it starts to get really busy. The main difference about this is it's full of lorries, huge lorries, and we got sort of slightly clipped to one side just there, even though there's this thin, narrow bit of lined off road. It was just too dangerous. We decided there were too many huge lorries. Different if you're on a road bike because you're probably going a bit faster, but on the tandem we're a lot slower. So we then crossed over, and there is a cycle path on this side, although it's more like a footpath. And we follow that on for a couple of K really. Again, the sound of the traffic thundering away to your left, so not ideal. But then we're going to head towards a roundabout that's coming up, and when you get to that roundabout we're going to turn right, and it's wonderful how the sound of all the traffic fades away. So here we go, shooting off now towards the village of Warmington. As I said, not the Warmington-on-Sea from Dad's Army. But here we go, another pretty church there in the village. We're now going to carry on straight through the town, or the village really, and we're going to come out the other side. And if you thought the roads north of the 605 were quiet, you should try some of these. They seemed absolutely deserted, but not narrow. They're really broad, the sort of things that you feel like during the last war could have been used as airstrips, and that may be the case. So we head through now. There was the typical smell of agriculture and of muck spreading, but we're going to get up there. We're just turning the big corner, and we're now going to head back north towards the Oundle Road again. We do have to cross the A605, so be aware that you're going to be able to hear that coming from a while, but we don't actually join it. So now we've turned, here we are heading north again, back to the start of our journey. Cross a minor road, and then just coming up here we're going to cross the motorway. Well, it's not really a motorway, but it feels like a motorway. Very peaceful roads. So here we are, over the top of the 605, drop back down, follow the pylons, all the way back to the road. A little bit busier just here, but then we're going to turn right back onto the Oundle Road. So here we go, turn right, and now we're heading back towards Chesterton, retracing the route that we'd made on the way out. Got a little bit busier towards lunchtime, and as you saw then, there were a few tractors, and you can keep going straight in towards the centre of Peterborough, and it's a very, very easy and straightforward route. So here we are, a summary of the route, and we're going to just have a run through. So we started in Peterborough, headed up north of the 605 towards Elton and Fotheringay, looping round the quieter roads, down into Oundle and then out to Barnwell Country Park, and we then after that we moved back up the cycle path. Now there is another route where you can go through Ashton, and if I did it again I might be tempted to take that road out and add a little bit extra, but we were in a rush. Then heading towards Warmington, then back up Bullock Road and rejoin the Oundle Road back. Okay, so you can find this route on the Commute page, which is Paul and Diane on the Tandem, and we'll add this video to it so that you can have it all there together. But in the meantime, thank you for joining us and enjoy your ride. Bye for now.